What's up, everyone? Or your one that's so far in the chat. Um, I'm going to do a live stream today on Stephen Retention. It's pretty close to midnight actually, but I just went for a bit of a run post gig. So I'm going to go through a whole page of different semen retention topics. You are invited to ask any questions, make any comments, whatever you want to do. This is going to be an interactive live video. So grab yourself a drink, chill out, do whatever you want to do. We're going to get into it. I'm currently on over 200 days of semen retention, and I feel great. I mean, I got home after a 4-hour gig and I just had a shower, changed into my workout clothes and just went for a run straight away, and then finished off with a nice long walk. Just really, the energy is just flowing through me right now, that it's just like I have to get rid of it. I find what's happened in the past is that I've done a lot of things like, just laid on my phone, or usually it's just going on my phone, to be honest. But now I'm really strict on myself and I'm like, nah, I've got to go for a run. And then post run or workout, I have to go for a walk, because that way it actually makes me feel like I've released that energy, instead of, go on my phone and keeping it stagnant. So when you guys are on like a long-term semen retention kind of streak, you guys will understand that it's just like, it's learning how to maintain that energy, and exert it in areas of your life across different domains. So for me, it's music, my music career, so my work. Also, it's exercise. It's also other things like, being creative in my house, doing a lot of different things to just kind of keep the energy vibrant, whether it be setting up some plants. Behind me is a fish tank, taking care of the fish, just circulating this energy. So, yeah, basically what I found is I just feel really good when I exert my energy. So I mean, like, really push into that, that tiresome, that fatigue. Get to a point where I feel fatigue. You know what I mean? We got a comment in the chat. To Neil Anderson, can I please say hi, Myra Ali in London? Hey, how you going? KBSO7V7, hi, how you going? Yeah, so it's just a matter of just like exerting all that energy, and yeah, putting it into different areas of your life to just kind of, get really, get to a point where you feel tired. You can't just be sitting on your phone all day and scrolling and all that kind of stuff. You gotta really push it out. Okay, so we're gonna get into some topics. This is going to be funny. I don't know who's in the chat, but can we get a like happening, guys? Can you please like this live video so we can push it out there? I want it to push to my subscribers. So if you're new to my channel, my channel is called Stephen Retention, and that's a play on words. It's actually about sexual transmutation, which is basically refraining and becoming celibate. So you don't know what that's about. Let's talk about it. A lot of people are kind of losing their identity because they're falling into their lust, essentially. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't have these urges in life. Everyone is installed with the program of wanting to procreate, and it's up to us to reprogram our minds, or whether to accept that installation and, want to procreate as kind of the nature of our biology. But the thing is that due to online adult media, the free stuff that contains a lot of vulgar kind of things, people are starting to lose themselves, especially men, okay? So a lot of men are unfortunately kind of wasting their life force energy because they're giving it away to nothing but a pixel on a screen. And this is causing a lot of physical and mental health issues. So this sexual transmutation is a process where we say, I'm not going to give that energy out anymore. And that not only means to, pixels on a screen, but it also means refraining from sex in general, abstaining, becoming celibate, not really wanting to engage into a relationship with someone just because you want that aspect, Trust me, as someone that's done a lot of long-term relationships in their life, I've had a few girlfriends, like I could count them on a hand, but they were long-term relationships. So I understand that kind of cohabitation instinct where you want to kind of be with someone in that regard. So that's kind of how I feel is semen retention. That's what it's called, is a transmutation of sexual energy where you feel what men should naturally feel like. So to all the ladies watching this channel, I don't know how it works for women, but if I were you, and to just give you at least a man's opinion, I think it would be very interesting to see how you go on a celibate streak. I'm going to answer some questions, and then I'm going to get into some topics. So we got a few random questions. Habitual 3, welcome. Thanks for dropping in. Welcome everyone. Yeah, nice. Everything is an illusion. Like and subscribe. It's free. Yeah, no, that's kind of true, man. I've been reading an interesting book called The Holographic Universe by David Talbot, and that actually kind of reaffirms the fact of what you just said. Everything is an illusion. So you're not wrong there. You're not actually wrong. So I'm going to talk about when you go celibate and when you go on semen retention. There is the attraction there. You essentially get to a point where you start to notice a lot more, I guess you could say higher value women are starting to be attracted to you. And on the same thing as well is that you understand those lower value women are making themselves way too easy for you, and it's just kind of a massive turn off. But come on, like, let's be honest. It's the same for everyone, right? It doesn't matter. Women would have the same view of men, so I'm not trying to bash the opposite gender or sex, I should say. So you really don't want the easy ones in your life, the people that make themselves too easy for you. You don't want those people. You also want to maintain an element of mystery in your life, and you want to keep distance. At least that's how I feel. It's like I've cultivated this energy, this semen retention energy, for over 200 days straight. I've done another long streak that ended last year in July, which was 452 days. You're gonna have to be someone pretty special now to get me off this streak, because trust me, I'm gonna go past 452 days again. I'm gonna go, I reckon, I don't even know. Like, I'm at a point now where I think that the long-term restraint and sacrifice of what happens with this energy is going to really pay some massive dividends, not only mentally, physically, spiritually, but also financially and fulfillment as well. I feel like that I'm going to feel very happy within my life. So I'm not going for any low-hanging fruit, and I'm not going for easy women. The other thing is that I still get attacked by succubi. Now, you guys might not know what succubi is or a succubus is, but it's a negative entity, a spirit that is it's luring you within your dream state, within the astral plane, within that that other world we enter when we fall asleep. What I find is that these succubus are our spiritual marriages a lot of the time. They're actually ex-girlfriends. I've had a couple of ex-girlfriends that have tried to get to me through that dream state, but they're unsuccessful. Whereas one of them is pretty cunning, and she can be successful, whether it's actually her or a demonic entity that is portraying herself or itself as her, okay? So imagine you have these different demonic entities, and two of them look like two of them look like your girlfriends, but then one of them look like, one of the hottest girls you ever got with. And, that girl really knew how to turn your buttons, right? That's the issue with succubus, is that they convince you. So now what I've got to do is I've got to completely remove myself and go back into a brahmacharya type of state again, where I just going to have to completely ignore women in general, which brings me on to the point of dating apps. Dating apps just, I don't know, it feels like a waste of time. Just to answer your questions, g'day AJ Vahisu, hello, how you going, mate? The Law of Noland, where are you from? I'm from Australia. Whereabouts are you from? Guys, let me know where you're from. Also give us a like on this video as well. It will push it out there to other fellow men on semen retention, which is exactly what we want. We want like a community of men that are actually practicing this, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure majority of the people that you engage with in your day-to-day life, they're not practicing semen retention. They're not practicing celibacy. They're not practicing abstinence or restraint. So, let's push it out there, like this video, and put some comments in here as well so it pushes it out. I'm going to get on to the next thing is these dating apps. It's just full of these Jezebel and these dangerous women. It's really dangerous for you to go out and meet some of these women on these dating apps. G'day Shade, how you going? Northwest Ohio, Midwest US. That sounds awesome, man. I'd love to go to the US one day. Good morning to you. It's good evening over here in Australia. It's 11:47 p.m. So yeah, basically, I just think I went on this Tinder, experience the other night, and let me tell you, this is a funny story. So if you want to hear about semen retention penalties or all this kind of connection you have with God, listen to this story. So what happened was I got home from a gig, and I'd matched with this girl, and I just kind of sent her some random messages during the day, just like random. oh, hey, how you going, kind of thing. Like nothing too spicy or anything like that. She sends me a message when I get home from my gig saying, oh, so did you just finish your gig? You obviously wouldn't be keen on hanging out because you're probably just winding down. And I said to her, actually, no, I'm keen for hanging out and having a chat. You know, it's like, it sounds good. So fast forward, she ends up inviting me to her house, and I'm like, well, all right, we'll see how this goes. So I should be able to just sit down, have a conversation with her, vibe it out, right? But it's not like that. Um, Basically, she invited me not to her house, she invited me to a bedroom. Like, we didn't sit in like the living room, like here, and talk and get to know each other or anything like that. It was, oh, hey, walk this way, take your shoes off, and come here. And it was like, let's just sit straight on the bed. And yeah, honestly, like, I try to vibe it out with her just for a bit, but it got to about like 30 minutes, and I was just like, yeah, I gotta go now, kind of thing. And to make matters worse, there was a few signs that reaffirmed that I had to go. And this is why I love God so much, is that God will really reaffirm your instincts. You just got to be very tuned into the subtle messages that God will give you. So just make sure that you always remain inquisitive and with an open mind if you want to have a good connection with God, especially when you're on semen retention. There's a lot of challenges coming at you left and right. So what happened was I ended up like, I was chewing some gum and I ended up wanting to spit my gum out and get a new gum. So I got my chewing gum and I went to the bathroom to throw it in this bin. And when I used my foot to open the bin lid up, I threw the gum in, and then at the top of the pile, I saw an empty condom wrapper. And I was like, man, I like literally have just come here. She hasn't even invited me to her living room, yet she wanted me to go straight into a bedroom. And I'm like, this is just too much. Like, come on, like, have some respect. So, like, I washed my hands and then had my gum and, went back into the bedroom, and I was just like, yeah, well, it was nice chatting to you, but I'm gonna head off. And she's like, oh, really? Like, are you not vibing? And this is like a girl that was like, she was pretty cute and all that kind of stuff, but it's the energy. The energy was dirty, kind of thing. And I just couldn't really, match with that. So, I walked away. I didn't want to disrespect myself. And you got to learn that as a thing as well. You got to learn to just walk away as soon as you feel something is wrong. I, in the past, was a bit of a people pleaser, to the point where I think I entered some relationships that I probably, if I listened to my actual instincts and I practiced semen retention, I would have never been in those relationships. That's a fact. Guys, if you are watching this live stream, let me know how many days you're on semen retention, or let me know if you've got any questions. I'm an experienced retainer. I'm on over 200 days of semen retention. I had a massive streak of 452 days, which finished in July. And yeah, now I'm on over 200 days of semen retention and I'm loving life. So if you want to have a chat, bring up some questions in the chat, let me know. Also, hit that like button. We're going to keep going with this live stream. So what happened after I left this girl's house? I just walked out and I got to my car, and then I, drove home, right? I'd only been there for maybe like 40 minutes. So I started driving home. And as I'm driving home, I go, up this road, and I'm driving behind this car, and then in front of us, about like 200 meters ahead of us, there's this fire hydrant that's for some reason like broken at like, you know, 11:30 on a Sunday night. Like, it was really random, right? This fire hydrant was broken, and it was like streaming, and it was literally the direction of the stream rose up and landed directly on the road. It was like, wow, like, it's amazing that that could happen. But anyway, so the car in front of me drove through the fire hydrant, and then for some reason, through the fire hydrant's water, and then for some reason, when it got through the water, it stopped in front of the water. So I was following behind the car, and then when that car stopped in front of me, it broke like on the brakes of the car, and then I was stuck underneath the water of the fire hydrant. And this is after I just left that girl's house. So this is like, I'm just like sitting there in my car, like holding down the beep, like the horn of the car, just going, move out of the way, what are you doing? And this water's just splashing all over my car, and I'm just like, I think that was instant karma. I think that was God saying to me, you gotta cleanse yourself, you gotta get out of here, you gotta clean up, mate. Like, you know, you gotta clean up, cleanse, water. Like, this is, if your third eye is open, you'll understand the subtle messages. And it's not gonna make sense to everyone, but it will make sense to you. And that's kind of all that matters, because that's how we interpret reality, is through energy, and then through that energy, we give it a meaning, okay? So some of you guys have made some comments. Shade922, he's on a 87-day streak, which is bloody awesome, guys. Yeah, that's really good, mate. 87-day streak is really good. Yeah, keep going on that. So that funny thing with that Tinder girl, where I just basically rejected her offer of having sex with me, was basically God God put me under a fire hydrant's burst water stream, and I just had to sit there for a bit and reflect. So finally the car moved out of the way, and then I kept driving, and eventually got home, so it was all good. But this is one of those things that it's just like, time was wasted. Time was wasted in the fact that I went on this dating app pursuit, but my seed was kept. I'm still on semen retention. I didn't lose any seed. So, that's a good thing. And yeah, she was really taken back by the fact that I kind of denied her. Like, this is a girl that's like 25 years old. I'm 31 years old. She was good looking, like I thought she was cute. Yeah, and it's just, she was just taken back because she made it really easy for me. And I know that you shouldn't, or no, you should have restraint. We're conditioned to just take what's easy, but that's not the way that it goes. So when you're on a long-term streak of semen retention and you've made mistakes, that's the important thing. When you made mistakes, at least if you weren't raised to be like a virgin, or you weren't raised to, be celibate, you have to make mistakes to come to realizations. Whereas if I were to ever have kids, I'd be raising them on like semen retention from the get-go. I'd be educating them straight away as to the importance of celibacy. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is how I've earned more money on semen retention than I've ever did before. So I was doing my finances recently, and I've already earned more money this year than I have last year, and I'm only 3/4 of the year. I haven't even reached 3/4 of the year through. So for me, I'm like, wow, like I'm seriously kicking some goals. Let me know in the comments if you feel like you earn more money when you're on semen retention. Um, I don't think this is a placebo. I think there's some real spiritual things behind this. So I feel like on semen retention, you get more of an abundant mindset where you kind of like let's say, because I'm a musician, right? That's my job. I sing and play guitar and, play for 3 to 4 hours most of the time. Sometimes I play more hours during the day if I'm doing multiple gigs or a long gig. And semen retention has helped me earn more money because I have more physical vigor. I've got more mental strength. So the vigor is important because when you're a performer and you're singing and you're rocking out and all that kind of stuff, and you're dancing and you're grooving and you're moving and all this kind of stuff, and this transmutation of this energy just rocks through your body, and your body has an impact on other people's bodies in the room. Like when I see people tapping their foot or swaying their hips or maybe tapping on the table or clinking their glass, I'm like, yep, I'm doing my job properly. So this is one of those things that I attribute it to semen retention because I feel the energy and I feel everyone's energy, and I absorb it, and then I transmute it through the music, and I massage the ambience of the room. So if you think about the room being an ambient kind of energetic field, the role of a musician is to massage the room. And once the room is feeling comfortable and relaxed and open and flowing, that's when the musician can really play, right? It's the best way I can put it, is they just play. They have fun, they play, it's playtime, right? So or I should speak for myself, I feel when I go into that fun mode, things are just kicking off. And sometimes I actually have to downplay the fun mode because certain people don't want me to get the crowds revved up too much. They want the venue to be more kind of like they're just meant to sit down and have a dinner, It's like, whatever. So anyway, that I attribute to that spiritual knowing of the room and the energy. I feel like semen retention helps enhance that. The other thing is that I've got a real abundant mindset. So for example, if I was to get a gig cancelled, if I was to lose work, I just get the notification or the message on my phone and be like, okay, yeah, cool, no worries, thanks for letting me know. And then I wouldn't give a second thought to it. But when I was off semen retention, or when I didn't even know what semen retention was, I'd get a message being like, oh, hey, your gig's cancelled. And I'd be like, oh, nah, that's not fair. That's BS. Why did that have to happen? And I'd feel kind of that's not right. But the reality is that I've realized that when you're holding on your seed, you have so much positivity and life within you that you actually don't really need, you don't need to work in a sense, that you don't need to, what am I trying to say? You got an abundant mindset. So when things don't work for you, you know that something else is going to take place, and you know that things happen for a reason. So you understand that because things happen for a reason, this is cancelled, and maybe that's because your energy is already lifted up, and as a result, you are now kind of attracting another opportunity, or you're jumping a timeline, and as a result, this had to cancel, this had to go because now you're meant to do this, so therefore you meet that person. And I can tell you some stories about that are related to that, but that's going to take way too long of this stream. So yeah, I want to make the point about earning more money on semen retention, and how having an abundant mindset, not a scarcity mindset. A scarcity mindset is if you were to, have a gig cancelled, or you had your shift cancelled or whatever, you would be scared of the fact that you're not earning money. Whereas when you're on semen retention, you know that it's just going to attract to you. You don't need to work for it. You don't need to chase money. So the other thing is that the reason why you earn more money on semen retention is there's an alignment with your purpose. And this might be like, it depends. You know what I think it comes down to? I think it depends on how far your compass. So imagine you've got a compass, okay? And here's your compass, and this is north, pointing directly up. And then that's west, and that's east, okay? So if it's directly pointing up, you're aligned with your purpose. But some people are kind of like literally, they're offline. They're going like the complete wrong way. Some people are going backwards, but I'm not going to talk about them. Some people are going the wrong way. And then what semen retention does is that, maybe you were doing what I was doing, and you end up teaching music. But then you realize that once you're doing semen retention, you're like, hang on a second, this isn't really what I wanted to do. And then you try being a little bit better as a musician, and then you get better gigs as a musician, and then you work harder as a musician, and then suddenly you're in full alignment with your purpose. And for me, that's one of those things that I'm like, yep, that's obvious. Like, it makes sense that the longer you transmute your sexual energy, the more life you are bringing into your being, the more creation you're bringing into your being. So if you're bringing creation into your being, then that means that you are creating realities, because there is no real distinction between yourself and the outside world. Like, this is something I'm going to explain a bit more later on, but yeah, there is an innate kind of collection, I guess you could say, but more of like an innate connection between everything in this universe. The other thing is, I want to talk about how you kind of, when you're on semen retention, that you start to lose interest in, chasing women, and you care more about, getting your own life and your own purpose in order. That like women are always going to be there. Like, there's always going to be women. If there was, there's there's always going to be an opportunity for you to get laid out there. Let's be honest. Even, the least attractive looking men on the planet can still put themselves out there and get someone, So just understand that there's always going to be women out there. So that's why on semen retention, with that mindset, being like, I know there's always going to be women out there for me. It's like you allow yourself to lose interest in that and focus more on your actual jobs. And that's why you earn more money on the semen retention. I think there's other things like, for example, financial literacy that I've learned. Like, your brain becomes stronger on semen retention. Like, I've been teaching myself about retirement funds, or in Australia we call it superannuation. I've been teaching myself about tax. I've been teaching myself about ways that I can, reduce the amount of tax that I pay. And I've even been coming up with some ideas as to how I could maybe just like completely, like stop paying tax in general. And this is all legal kind of things that I'm thinking about. I'm not doing some scheming kind of thing. I'm just trying to, get to a point where I like understand finance and money. And when I was a depleted Kuma, I was just completely like, I couldn't focus on these important things. So I don't know, like it's one of those things that like you educate yourself more, and for me personally I feel better like really going into the depths of my knowledge and all that kind of stuff as well. I'm going to take a little water break, but you guys let me know how you're going. Welcome to Stephen Retention Live. So let me know what you're thinking about semen retention, how it's working with you, and let me know if you have noticed yourself earning more money on semen retention. Have you noticed that you're getting more work? Have you noticed that when you do the work, it's becoming easier and, less effort required, yet you are rewarded much more? Let me know in the comments. I'm here all night. No, I'm not really here all night, but you get the idea. The other reason why you earn so much more money on semen retention is you start to think more of like a businessman and an entrepreneur. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm on a long streak, the last thing I think about is working for someone else. Like, I am so driven in remaining sovereign and independent that every person that works with me, I always look at them as a temporary thing that's just going to help me be the step to the next thing that I need to do. They're not going to necessarily be there for the whole thing. And that's a really healthy way to look at it. Don't get attached to people. The only thing you should get attached to is experiencing new things, and actually understand that people are just the people that are with you for you to experience new things. It's not the people that you form attachments with, it's you form attachments to experiences. And that's why you hang around certain friends and all that kind of stuff, because you had experiences together. But the reality is that you could have those same experiences with someone else. So, you don't necessarily need to be attached to people. And I know this sounds weird, but for me personally, I don't care about having friends. I've got a handful of people that I could call and, try and organize some time to be with, but I just don't, because I'm like, I've got things I want to achieve, and sitting around drinking beers and smoking cigarettes is not really my vibe, to be honest, mate. No offense. But I'm going to answer some comments now, because it's a good time to get into some, live Q&A with my fellow retainers. If you're on semen retention, let me know in the comments and we'll do some stuff and, talk about different things. Okay, so we got a comment here from Shade922. He says, I have noticed that my job is way easier because I'm not waking up drained from a late night of depletion. Depression is gone. I'm still empathetic, but I'm not caring what people think or do. Never felt that way, and it's like a superpower, not caring about anything but what actually matters to you. Man, that's a great comment. Thank you so much for writing in your comment, Shade922. It's such a, there's such a lot of good nuggets in there. I'm gonna try and decipher each little bit and respond to each part. So I have noticed that my job is way easier because I'm not waking up drained from a late night of depletion. Okay, there's a couple of things in that. So, Shade922 has commented how he's noticed that it's way easier to wake up because he's not drained. And this is not only just from losing seminal fluid, but also edging, mentally edging can keep you drained as well. So he feels when he's not on semen retention, he feels drained, depleted, and also he's up late. Okay, so for me personally, I've stopped having late nights. My latest nights will be maybe like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I'm not really doing like, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. nights because I also don't smoke ganja anymore. And when I used to do that, like that was like when I'd be feeling, like staying up for a long time. But when you're on SR, you just don't want to do that. So, it makes sense that you feel energized because you just get into a point where you're like, I just want to wake up fresh. And the edging is an important part, like an aspect that some people probably don't, consider, but it's true. So yeah, that's great that you feel a lot more energized because of semen retention. And then she's also Shade's also mentioned that like the depression is gone. So that's really good. That's good, man. Like I don't know what my thing was. I think because I was smoking marijuana, that it was maybe masking depression potentially. But I never really, I don't think I had like proper depression, but I'd be interested to know just what kind of, what was going on. Why did I resort to all these vices? And yeah, I agree. When you're on semen retention, like, you just like, you just feel good. like, like for example, I used to get real, especially around 2020, when we were in that kind of, that simulation, I guess you could call it. I used to get real upset about just politics and the way things were going and all that kind of stuff. And I still care about the way that, the outside world operates. However, I realize that it's an inside job. um, and so what it is that you've actually got to change internally so that way your frequency can transport you into a higher dimension, into a better timeline, which means that you are going to experience less bad things in your external world. So you're not going to be depressed about the world or depressed about yourself. And I find that the people that are depressed and are worried and anxious and all that kind of stuff, they're very attached to things that are happening outside of them rather than focusing on what's wrong inside of them. So yeah, Shade has also mentioned how, he's still empathetic, but also not caring what people think or do. And that's something that I agree with as well. Like, I just don't care. Like, I met this girl recently on a dating app, and she's a few years older than me, 3 years older than me, which is not a bad thing. Like, women being a little bit older is actually kind of good these days because you hope that they're mature. But you know, she's not immature, which is good. But I just don't care about like pursuing it. Like I just don't. It's like, you know, she's interested in me and all that kind of stuff, but I just don't care. Like I'm like, fuck it. Like it's one of those things that like you can dance around and kind of please people and all this kind of stuff for a long time, but the reality is that when you're on semen retention, you just, even if it's a close mate, you just like, this is my vibe. If you don't like it, there's the door, you know. Um, Shades also commented, never ever felt that way, and it's like a superpower, not caring about anything but what actually matters to you. Yeah, no, I think it's like, I think naturally masculine energy is to be selfish. Um, and there's a reason behind that is because we're trying to be dominant and, you know, and attain power because no real man out there that is like masculine would say that he doesn't want power. I think all men want power. Um, and as for women, they want to feel part of a community and they want a family and they want all that kind of stuff. Um, I like, if you look at all the hero archetypes in like movies and stuff like that, you'll notice that like the main heroes are the people that like go through lots of lone wolf kind of arcs. And these aren't just like small, you know, like 100 days of loneliness. This is usually like years of loneliness, you know. And that's really how a man like chisels himself. That's how a man refines himself into becoming someone powerful. And obviously practices like semen retention makes it, you know, really good for you. So yeah, just remain holding on to your seed and yeah, of course you can be empathetic towards people. You can understand people. You can you understand that people go through things as you did yourself. But the reality is you just don't, you don't need to take on other people's energy. There's no, like, we've made so many complications as a human species. We've made all these complications like we need to like say this, we need to do that, we need to open the doors, we need to, you know, say thank you, please, and you know, we got to make sure that everyone feels good and all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying that you should go around, you know, not opening doors for people or not saying please and thank you to people. I'm saying that these are all rules that aren't natural. They're man-made rules. This isn't natural laws of the universe type of rules though. Laws of the universe would be like, oh, there's some food, I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat it. Yum. Oh, this guy's angry because I just ate some of his food. I didn't know it was his food, but now he wants to fight me. And then, bang, I just punched him and then I just killed him because he wanted to kill me. You know, that's natural biological laws is that we don't have all this kind of etiquette and manners and all that kind of stuff. And semen retention makes you tap into something much more primal. Like, I feel like getting into a fight. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's so many times when I've just got so much testosterone just like, you know, circulating through my body that I literally just want to like fight someone. I'm having violent visions in my mind where I just want to like punch someone in the face, and I don't care if I get beaten up. Like I'm just like, I just want to fucking punch someone in the face. Shades commented here. He says, also feels like I dominate a room, not in the sense of controlling or dominating others, but more so dominating my mental state in a room full of people / different energies. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, Shade, if you guys are watching the replay, he's been commenting on this live stream, and he's talking about over his streak, how these different changes that he feels, and he's talking about how he dominates a room, and not in a controlling way, but more in just like a natural kind of energetic way is probably the best way that, you know, you could probably put it, is that mentally it's hard to be thrown off. Like as a musician, as someone that's performing in front of people all the time, I get tested a lot. I get a lot of people that try to, you know, they try to alpha me. And it never works. It, it never works. A, I'm talented at what I do. B, never underestimate the throat chakra. Never underestimate someone's voice. It has a supernatural ability. There's something supernatural about the voice. And it's one of those things where I've had people like, you know, try to arc up and get all physically threatening with me, but then I use my voice and they 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 turn into a softie, and they look like a loser, especially if they like tested me, you know. And this is goes to show that these chakras and all this kind of stuff, they're all different intelligence, they're all different brains inside our body that are reacting energetically. So for me personally, like I noticed that the most common retainers, supernatural ability is having a very strong solar plexus, which is, it's good, but it's kind of like, it is dominating, which is cool, but it's still a lower frequency. I think like, yeah, it really helps you ground yourself and assert your power. Like when you're on semen retention and you tap into that solar plexus kind of energy, and you kind of got that core stability, and you're just like, yeah, I ain't here to F around. I'm here to like be me. And that's the cool thing about where you want to direct your energy within your body, because you could literally direct your energy into your balls and, you know, mentally edge, I guess you could say, onto a woman. And depending on whether she's attracted to you or not, you could get her fired up, or you could get her thinking you're a creep. And the same goes for your heart. If you decide to, you know, transmute your energy into your heart, and you know, you see a kid looking at you, because this is the thing, is that when you're on semen retention, you're going to have an aura, and people won't know why that is, and people can't even see your aura, but they feel it. And especially kids, they can see the auras quite comfortably, but when you see a kid that's looking at you, or like obsessed with you. The kid just wants to be around you and like, you know, asking you questions. It's when you transmute energy into your heart and you project your love onto the child, because like what's the kid like what's the kid gonna do? It needs your love. That's all it needs. A kid, like, you know, you don't need to be an alpha male to the kid. You don't need to tell it what to do. The kid just needs to experience in life. So you transmute your energy to your heart chakra and you project love onto the kid. And that's how you actually use, you know, that powerful energy for good. That's how you transmute your sexual energy into something positive and not always so self-serving. Because that's the your heart chakra is the last it's the first point within your central nervous system. It's the first like proper nodule that actually projects outwards and serves others, whereas the solar plexus, like it's mainly like serving yourself. It's the achiever mindset. You're trying to achieve something. Sacral chakra, that's like, you know, you're wanting to create something for yourself, though. You're wanting to be sexually bound to someone. So you gotta understand where to push this energy. Where do you want it to sit? The other thing is like, yeah, like just the throat chakra. Like when you start operating your energy through your throat chakra, like that's where, especially if you can project positive things out of your voice, like that's when you're going to see some real magic. Or at least for me, like maybe that's my gift. Maybe someone else has maybe they've got abs, maybe they've got like a chiseled body and they've just got these abs, and you know, they project their aura through their sacral, or sorry, their solar plexus chakra. As far as the, you know, other things go, as far as like the other chakras, like your third eye, like, I mean, it'll be good to know one day that I can see auras properly, but for now they're just very subtle. And it's probably due to my own attachments and all that kind of stuff to this physical body, but it is what it is. Hey guys, if you're on this live stream, drop us some comments, ask any questions. I'm probably going to wrap this up sometime soon if no one wants to comment. Shade922, chuck us some comments if you've got anything you want to discuss. It's pretty much an open conversation now. I pretty much said all I wanted to say. But yeah, hopefully you guys subscribe to my channel as well. Make sure that you check out my other videos about semen retention. I think it's an incredible practice. You can see how long my hair's growing as well. It's just like, it's getting crazy. Like that's like proper hair. I'm growing it out. I'm just gonna grow it. I'm just gonna be celibate monk with a lot of hair. No worries, Shade. You have a great day. See you around. But yeah, look, guys, that's the end of my live stream. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one. Cheers.